Sometimes, a single badge can tell you everything you need to know about a car.
This is what I'm talking about. A 1970 Chevelle SS.
Let's see what she's got. Pessimist would say, well, it's an automatic, doesn't particularly handle well in the corners. Look, when you hear the 350 brake horsepower turbojet V8, none of that matters. Listen to that.
Chris, it's you.
Chanda.
Wow.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. Beautiful car.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
I'm not being rude.
Yeah.
My door won't open.
Okay. So you're gonna have to do one of those Dukes of Hazzard.
No, the Dukes of
Come
Hazzard.
on, right.
Yeah, that's definitely me.
Okay.
I mean, we can try it, but
Wow, beautiful car. I
yeah,
love the
it's not
car,
gonna
man.
happen.
Okay. Please allow me to get the door for
Oh,
you, sir.
thank you.
Okay. Wow, love it.
Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you, man. I didn't think you were real. I see you on those clips. You know?
just think it's just
AI.
it's all AI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Manish would
You're
probably
real.
prefer it if it was all AI. Yeah. No,
Yeah.
here we are. 1970 Chevelle
Wow.
SS.
Just a beautiful car, man.
It is
I
gorgeous.
when you're driving in, I can hear it. You know, the motor is just power.
You know, there's exhaust noise and
Yeah.
there's engine noise.
Okay.
And this one is engine noise.
Okay.
Which
Well,
is
it fits Houston,
awesome.
Texas, man. It
Right?
fits Houston, Texas, yeah.
you know, if you're going to do this, you're going to do it right.
You got to do it right. And we got beautiful highways here, so let's take it rip.
Let's go.
Let it rip.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
You know, when moving here, I did not know I'm living in the River Oak area. I did not know. I just picked the place.
Really?
I said, okay, the office is there, and then I just picked up. So I live across the street.
Oh, cool.
You know, so, because I don't want to waste time, Chris. So when I need to be at office at 7 o'clock, I just walk across the street. You know, I like it.
You mentioned cars to me
Yeah.
a little bit. What would be your dream car?
For me, I was thinking of getting a 911 out here. Yeah, this choice. So I probably get a white, you know, white or black.
Now, new
911.
911 or older?
Yes, a
Newer.
My daughter's 20, and my son is 22, and they're a performer. My son's a performer. He belongs to India, Southeast Asian India dance group. So he travels throughout the United States, and he was there in India last year to perform, and he likes that. And my daughter, she's a performer too, but she performed Cambodian ballet, you know, Cambodian art ballet. So they have they created a dance school in Minnesota. So they teach other kids how to dance.
Fair.
They just love the art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son, he's only 11.
Yeah.
but he has taken a serious interest in acting. And I've just been really proud of him. You know, he just has no fear with it.
It's amazing how kids, my daughter used to have stage fright, you know, and now she just go up on stage like, oh, that's cool. I don't like stage. Like this interview makes me nervous, you know, but I adjust to it.
Well, that's because you're afraid I'm gonna crash, but. You came to the United States in 1982?
82, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about the genesis of that. And
Yeah. Coming to America was very difficult, you know, because we were trying to escape Cambodia in the early 70s. And that was during the Khmer Rouge War, Cambodian genocide. They killed over 1.5 to 2 million. So wiped out about 20% of Cambodian people, you know. So my grandma, my mom, and my 3 aunts, we would walk through the killing fields to Thailand. And that's where you know, to Thailand and sneak into the Thailand refugee camp, because that's where you find safety, you know.
sure.
And but during that journey, it wasn't fun. You know, my stomach was bigger than my head because of malnutrition. I was probably around 7 years old or so, and you walk through the jungle. You walk through at nighttime, you know, and because you don't want the soldiers find you. They find you, and you're dead. You know, and you know how you're in the financial world, and I'm so honored to be interviewed by you guys. You know, to $2 billion company and counting. That's cool, man. And but investment return wise, my grandma paid a guide to guide us through the jungle from Cambodia to Thailand border. And her investment with us was $5, 500 baht, which equals to $5. And she got all of us here to the United States of America. That's the best investment return.
That's it. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's not going to be beat. No.
Yeah. So that's a cool return. So, but once we stayed at the refugee camp, we stayed there for about 2 years or so. You know, our life was a little bit better. We got some rice, we got some water, etc. And then, you know, every chance my grandma gets, she would get our name on the board, try to get our name on the board. And that board is important because then we get sponsorship.
Sure.
So through United Nations, a church out of Rochester, Minnesota, sponsored my grandma, my mom, and my 3 aunts to the United States. And I can tell you, Chris, we know nothing about America, man. You know, we do not know Minnesota. And as I mentioned to you in the car, you know, if I had known that there's California, Texas, warm, hot, dry climate, I would have picked those, right?
Yeah.
But we went to Minnesota. It was butt cold. It was cold. And, you know, it was interesting flying to United States. They had a stop in California. And then in the 80s, if you recall those moon boots, those heavy coats, so they were giving us that, you know, the heavy coats and the moon boot. I'm like, what is this? You know? And I was like a skinny, scrawny little kid, right? Putting that boot on and the heavy coat. I'm like weighing myself here, you know. So, but he said, you're gonna, through a translation, you're gonna need the coat, the boots when you go to Minnesota. You know, and surely enough, man, we go through Minnesota and it was cold.
So then help me get from skinny kid wearing moon boots, doesn't speak English,
Right.
to financial advisor, because that had to be maybe a less perilous, but certainly an interesting path.
Yeah, yeah. It was a very interesting path. I wanted a career where I was telling my grandma. My grandma's kind of the one that motivates me with everything. She passed away 2 years ago now, at 97. But she motivated me to get into something business, right? And my first job was not the financial service. I was in a different type of sale business. And one business that I was in, working for this other guy, he said, Chanda, you need to get your money working for you. So then when we were in a soft season, I would call different financial firms and I would ask them, hey, I like to be interviewed by your firm. You know, I want to get into the financial service, but I have no background in the financial service. Would you give me a chance? And if you recall, back then, some of those different money managers, they're kind of stiff, suit and tie people are very stiff. And no, you got to send your resume through the assistant, whatever it is, go through all that stuff, right? So I just keep calling other firms. Then one financial firm decided, okay, come on in, I'll interview you, Said, all right, let's do it. So then he interviewed me, but they give me this aptitude test. Aptitude test just means that they want to know your circle of influence, how you are, what you are compared to others, They would ask me, do you golf? I said, no. Do you, they want to know what my parents does, No. My stepfather, he's a bus mechanic, and my mom works at a turkey factory, So the circle of influence was not there. So I failed the aptitude test. But one thing was, he knew I was hungry, for the business. And then he said, go to this other manager. He just got recruited as in management. So then they took me in, And then I
Very cool.
Each company tell you, well, we'll give you all these leads, etc. But I find myself for 2.5 years cold calling out of the phone book because I couldn't afford the leads and all that. So cold call out of the phone book. And, when you start out in this business, it's not rosy. There's certain years that I tell my grandma, I say, Grandma, I'm going to quit. Then her comment was, you know what? If I can bring your mom and your 3 aunts here to United States of America, you can do this business.
That's tough to argue with.
I can't argue that. I said, all right. Next day, you go again and start dialing for dollars, So I did that. So that journey to get here was not easy, but but Grandma continued to push me to stay in the business.
Very cool.
And I'm glad I did, but I'm glad that she was around to help me. I enjoy people. You probably notice, I enjoy being around people. And the people really the one that keeps me staying in this business because we like the clientele that we work with.
Yeah.
And, some people say America is not a land of opportunity. I still believe America is still a land of opportunity, man. Still red, white, and blue, right? Yeah. Because in Houston here, we work with a diverse group of clientele, from medical doctors to college professors and entrepreneurs. And each one of those people, whether they're from India or they're from Poland or they're from Cambodia, the goals and objective, what they want to accomplish is all the same. We just have different skin tone. That's it, And whether they're with $100,000 investment or several millions, but the end in mind is the same. And once I learned that, I learned about people. I just enjoy. I wake up every day. I enjoy people, and you sit down with them and you listen to what they want to do for their kids, or they would tell me, hey, my daughter's going to get married, next year. Where am I going to pull that money from? So things like that it's not about the dollars and cents anymore.
Right.
It's about, Chanda, what can I do is for my best, for my family. It's about that type now, and, teaming up with good money managers and stuff helped me focus more on that client lifestyle.
Right.
So that worked out really cool.
You've been on such an incredible journey your whole life. But as an advisor, how has working with people and serving in that capacity, how has that changed you?
It changed me to be more patient.
You know,
That's fair.
yeah, because certain clients, they come in, I have this much money, here you go, you know, but then you dig deep into what they really want, and it changed me in a way where it's a proud business, and the reason I say it's a proud business is because only in America I'm able to do this,
Right.
you know, and if I was still in my country, well, let's just take this an example. Your firm, I would not be in front of you and being interviewed by you or wanting to know what I do. You know, here's a refugee kid from Cambodia. What do we care? You know, but America allows me to do that. So changing, it's not just changing me, it changes the whole how I view things throughout the whole society. Where you know how in America we you know, you're on this side or that side, and sometimes you get this argument, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to finance, that kind of goes away. You know, when you deal with clients, yeah, they may believe in this or believe in that, but at the end game, it comes down to, can you help me? You know, and this business has changed my life 100% because, you know, I'm able to have a diverse clientele and able to communicate using English to communicate with all sorts of clientele, and that's a lot of joy for me, man. You know.
That's very cool.
Yeah, and so that's why I'm in it for 20 years. I'm not gonna hang up the hat because I enjoy the people, you know, and it changed me, and I hope to change their life as well.